at a cannabis conference, talking about medical marijuana. And, his resonating conversation was he'd like to see it in a pharmacy. And like you said, I couldn't agree more. If it's medicine, it should be in some kind of format like that we're kind of used to. Thank you very much, Kathy, for joining us on the show. Let's dive back into that SAM topic, because I think that's important for people to understand the type of opposition and what that opposition looks like.
Well, the opposition is great, and it's got a lot of money, and they've got a lot to lose this year. They've got several states that are trying to regulate cannabis here in 2016, and, pharma has a lot to lose. The pharmaceutical companies have a lot to lose. The big alcohol has a lot to lose. So these entities are going to be throwing money at these guys like Kevin Sabat. Kevin Sabat is, he'll pretty much say anything. I hear, this is a rumor, I haven't confirmed it, but, it's $3,000 an hour to get him to come do anything. This guy is a high-paid prohibitionist shrill, and he needs to be stopped. He needs to be taken out now. It's a year ahead. We can start by tweeting him. We can start by, just get some pressure on this guy. SAM, Smart Approaches to Marijuana. It's the national version of MAPForce. MAPForce is the in-state Arizona organization that really, they've done some really great work for kids as far as keeping kids away from dangerous drugs. Unfortunately, they've gone ahead and made their big champion item marijuana in the last couple of years, and I've taken notice of them, and honestly, that's why my organization went from being called Phoenix March to being called Mom Force. And who came up with that name, sir?
I have no idea.
That would be you, and while I'm here and I'm on record, I just want to say Dave Inman is absolutely he's amazing. He's got so many wonderful ideas. He's so supportive of me. We've been together about 4 years, and in that 4 years, he's been with me through more of the time that I've been an advocate than I was on my own, which was 3 years ahead of us meeting. And, he's just been absolutely a complete, just wonderful. You've been wonderful, honey. I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on and on, but your ideas and your support is what has really fueled me in the last few years, so thank you. But your idea also was Mom Force. Mom Force was your idea, and it was an answer to MAPForce and the information they were putting out about marijuana, because we know that this is a substance that has never taken a life. I know now, I've learned through the National Cancer Institute, why it doesn't take a life. I'll tell your folks really quick, because it doesn't affect that brainstem like alcohol and opiates do. The brainstem is the one that sends that signal to your heart and your lungs, shuts down, and kills folks. And that's why cannabis doesn't kill anyone. It works on other parts of the brain, not that brainstem. So I'm explaining these pieces of science to folks. Another piece, National Institutes of Health tells me 1,800 kids go to college and they pass away because they drank too much every year. Now, this, when you have a natural alternative that is non-toxic, it can't take a life. As a mom, I cannot stop talking about this because we really need to call attention to it. And it's not that I want all the college students taking marijuana, but when you have some kind of alternative, it should be legal. There's no reason why this one shouldn't. It's 114. Here's another piece of science. It's 114 times safer than alcohol and other substances, according to the National Institutes of Health.
Quite frankly, exactly like what you're saying, not just humans, but mammals of all walks of life imbibe in some kind of an intoxicant. So it's not as if it's unnatural for this to occur. You can go back through Bible references, you can go back through medical journals, hundreds of years old, and they all reference, things of that nature. There was a reference in the Bible saying that wine makes your heart sing. It's, an intoxicant is going to happen 9 times out of 10 at some point. And if what you do and can actually benefit and show people that if you're gonna get intoxicated, do it on something that's not going to kill you.
Well, or at least know what this alcohol is going to do to you. If you choose alcohol, I get that. But know that if you take enough of it, not only do you take enough, you could die, but it can happen quickly. And that when you stop drinking, that alcohol still builds in your system because your liver's still giving out that intoxicant. So you're going to get even more intoxicated after you stop drinking. And this is the thing, is that folks, they take a few drinks, and they say, oh, boy, I've got to stop. Well, they should have stopped a few drinks ago because it catches up and then you get even more intoxicated. Now, this is just all part of good, honest education, and that's what our kids aren't getting. What they're getting is a barrage of alcohol advertisement everywhere you look. Alcohol is great. Alcohol is fine. Alcohol is killing people. Alcohol is 8 times as dangerous to drive when you take a reasonable amount of alcohol versus a reasonable amount of cannabis, according to the National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration. These things are true. This is science, and people need to know it because it's saving lives when they do.
I can't thank you enough for how many countless lives you're going to save and probably already have. And I got to say, it's a pleasure watching the entire thing unfold. I know I certainly don't have big enough balls to go and talk to the toughest sheriff in the country.
Oh, you talked to him the other day. I saw you. He called you a doctor. That was great.
Oh, yeah. I'm like a doctor.
No, I'm like a doctor.
But that's actually something that was very unique for myself, seeing that actually unfold, but because of his adoration for you and me walking up and finally meeting him, he instantly assumed that, I would have been somebody like that. Like I would have been a doctor or, an architect or something of that nature. And it was actually kind of gratifying that, I wasn't immediately just rendered less than in his eyes. If anything, because of his relationship with you, I was raised and lifted because of that. And that's actually kind of an important and kind of a poignant thing that I wish all of you could have actually seen this or felt this type of thing. But to see somebody that you honestly, you didn't care for, you didn't like this person for years because of, they were out to get you. At least that's what was in the back of your mind, that, you're a criminal, so they're out to get you. But all of a sudden with the motions that are happening and people like you, Kathy, that, we can actually have these amazing discussions that are so much more forward than ever. I mean, the discussions that we can actually have on an open platform, not just with our lawmakers, but with the people behind us in line. And, 9 times out of 10, they're going to know. They're going to want to interject and say, yeah, I know somebody who has taken cannabis and it's benefited them. Or, yeah, I've been smoking it for 50 years and, I just happen to be, a New York Times author and it didn't do anything to me. These stories continue to resonate within our communities and our culture, and it only seems to get more and more poignant and purposeful every single moment, every single day. We got to take a quick break. When we get back, Kathy Inman, founder of Mom Force, State of Cannabis, Dave Inman. We'll be right back with you, folks.
Stay tuned for more State of Cannabis, only on CannabisRadio.com when we return.
Dr. Dalbir, hurry! Its temperature is shooting past 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's burning up.
I'm afraid for this little guy, it's just too late.
What caused the problem?
Only Dr. Dalbir can maintain the perfect temperature for a smooth-tasting, slower burn. This standard vaporizer lost all of its health benefits, sending it up in smoke.
So you're telling me that most vapor pens burn so hot they produce smoke, not vapor?
Correct. Keep away from those standard vaporizer pens and turn to Dr. Dalbir. Doctor's orders.
Less heat, more flavor.
Ganjapreneur.com, your guide to the cannabis business world. Ganjapreneur.com is a comprehensive resource for cannabis professionals and entrepreneurs. Download the Ganjapreneur app on your smartphone or tablet to catch up on cannabis industry news, scroll through our daily job listings, and learn about successful cannabis companies, executives, and investors. Ganjapreneur.com, helping Ganjapreneurs grow.
From high atop Mount Soledad in San Diego, California, 100 feet above sea level. Good morning. It's good news with cannabis nurse Heather.
This plant is amazing. Positive change is happening. We did it. No matter who you are, you can make a positive impact on the world.
I would rather be illegally alive than legally dead.
And that quote helped to give you strength.
Nurse Heather is only on CannabisRadio.com.
Good morning, cannabis nurse Heather.
Chronicling the latest cannabis industry news and headlines. Welcome back to the State of Cannabis, only on CannabisRadio.com. Once again, here's Dave Inman.
Welcome back to the State of Cannabis. I'm your host, Dave Inman. With us tonight, we have none other than my wife, Kathy Inman, founder of Mom Force. Kathy, we've been having some wonderful little topics that we've been talking about. Obviously, we wanted to highlight the fact that you were able to bring the toughest sheriff in the country and have him come and speak at one of your medical cannabis events. And, he's not 100% sold on recreational. And his biggest thing about medical is he wanted to stop diversion. Now, how do we stop diversion?
Well, one of the main ways is to regulate. I mean, regulation stops all kinds of problems. It doesn't stop it altogether. I know they've still got problems, but, we see the good information coming out of Colorado. I don't know that they've had a big problem with that there, but honestly, I haven't gotten into this subject with the campaign or with anyone. I really haven't looked into it. It's not one of the things I've looked into. The things I've been looking into are things about kids' health, about traffic safety, things that concern the average citizen. Diversion is something new. But what I told him while he was in a panic looking at me, because the greatest thing that I was able to do and what I really wanted to do is have the sheriff see the campaign chairman for the campaign to regulate marijuana for 2016. I wanted him to meet J.P. Holyoke and really sit down, and not that he hasn't met him before, but really kind of sit next to him and get a feel for this man and listen to what he had to say. Because he's a genuine, from what I understand, I don't know him very, very well, but he's certainly a gentleman, and he certainly breaks off stereotypes of what people would expect from someone who would be behind a campaign like this. And that's really what I've been all about since the very beginning coming into this. Recognizing that we could save lives and protect peace by calling attention to this injustice. I've been trying to break stereotypes. So I've always come out in my regular church clothes or my regular work clothes, clothes one would, go if you, anything respectable in. And people, it makes the cannabis community uncomfortable, and I'm sorry for that. But this is how we do it, as they say. I mean, this is how MPP has done it, the Marijuana Policy Project. The first thing I recognized was that they put on a suit and talked to people. And I thought, well, that's the way to do it. And from then on, I have put on, my Sunday best before I go and talk about cannabis. Because if we take this seriously and we approach this by breaking stereotypes, look where we end up. We end up having Sheriff Joe come to the All Saints of the Desert Episcopal Church last Saturday and listen to me speak and others speak about medical marijuana. Now that's breaking stereotypes, and that's progress, in my opinion.
Without a doubt. And, I'm going to, we're getting kind of close to out of time, and I'm going to just kind of go through a little story just so you folks can understand. So there was a Saturday morning. It was fairly early. This was someone after Bill Montgomery decided to call Don an enemy for his recreational use. The backlash that he received over that, the next thing you know, I am sitting on my porch. It's about 5 a.m, and I get a Facebook message from our county attorney. And in that Facebook message, I know I'm going out on a limb, but by chance, does your wife check her Facebook messages? That was one of the most resounding moments I've had in recent memory, having our county attorney message me to attempt to get my wife's attention on his behalf so he could try and diffuse a situation he had created for himself. That is cannabis activism at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. We have the power. This is the end game, and it is ours to win or lose. Sometimes you might have to put on a suit. So be it. If you're at a funeral, you're not going to walk in with flip-flops and shorts. And if cannabis is something that is important to you, do it. It's not that hard. I remember switching jobs from job to job, needed to stretch my wings out. And I had a mentor that I was thankfully hired, and I had, long hair down to my ass just about. And, I shaved my head, just because I got tired of it. And he pointed out another person like, look, this guy just told me this, and this, but I instantly disregarded him because he looked like, he didn't know what he was talking about. And I instantly realized all those times that I had to go down to Intel and talk with engineers, or when I was going down to a municipality and talking to a city planner, how much more time I had to spend to convince them that I knew what I was talking about. There is no need to do that. We don't need to have that conversation anymore. We just need to act and look the part. There's no reason that we need to be out on a limb. It's our world.